Good morning, everyone. I didn't play the intro this morning, but thank you for tuning in to the AskZena radio show. The reason why I didn't is because I'm already motivated to share so many interesting things with you. So thank you for tuning in to the AskZena radio show on the Good News radio station. I haven't been in the studio, I think, in 2 weeks, right? Ooh. And it's chilly in here. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Thank you for tuning in. We are just days away from Christmas. I can't sing like Mariah Carey, but we are days away from Christmas. And guess what? We are going to talk about unrecognizable situations and even yourself being completely unrecognizable. I am going to leap forward and talk about the new year, but talk about the year that has passed us and what we have done and what we've accomplished. So I am so grateful that you tuned into this morning's show. I am going to be very transparent and share some stuff with you. And I hope that it's going to motivate you and get you excited for the new year to come, because trust me, you don't want to miss this huge nugget to transform and transcend your life. So I am Coach AskZena, and I'm on the Good News radio station, and I am all about those Asians: motivation, inspiration, encouraging and inspiring, and, all of those Asians and all of those ings, right? That's me. Each day, I have to tell you, each day, whether I have an ache, a pain, a sorrow, a headache, a worry, a concern, each day I get up and I try to put some positive energy out there. I try to do something that is motivating and inspiring just to get myself moving. I'm going to put some music on. Just to get myself up here moving, just to get myself flowing. So as you see me out on social media, just know that I am not doing that for anyone else but myself, because I am in my feelings a lot of times, and I need to uplift myself each and every day. So as you think that I'm sending you positive vibes, trust me, I'm sending myself some as well. So thank you so very much for tuning in to the Good News radio station. Right? It's good news. That's what I'm going to bring you today. So I'm going to reflect on how my life is completely unrecognizable right here, right now, in this moment. And I'm going to share some things with you, some techniques that I've used to really transcend my life. And as I was driving in, I was thinking about, like, wow, this time last year, it did not look like this. So much so that I wasn't even driving the same vehicle. And so when I share these things with you, trust and believe that I'm sharing them to motivate you, not to brag or boast, because I'm really not that type of person. And we'll talk about the type of person that I am in a minute. But thank you so very much for tuning in. Yeah, thought I'd play a little jazz in the background. So, I didn't play the intro, right? I didn't play the intro today because I wanted to jump right into talking about not looking the same, unrecognizable. So if I played my intro, you would know it was the AskZena radio show, right? But because I didn't play my intro, you're like, okay, what is she doing today? Is this a recording? What is she doing? But I wanted to share with you how life is completely unrecognizable for me right now. And I hope that you will find some motivation in there, because I'm going to drop one major nugget that I use in my coaching practice, but that I have used in my life to really get me to the next level. So this time last year, I think I started my podcast in like November of last year. I think it was around that time. I think I've been on air for about an hour, a year. And I was listening to an interview that a friend of mine was doing with Keith, the owner of the Good News radio station. And I loved his vibe so much that I reached out and I was persistent and consistent in like, hey, very interested in what you're doing, very interested in getting to know a little bit more about your station, want to know, how I can be an impact, how I can be part of the radio station. And so I have never been a podcaster. Let me just tell you who Zena is, right? Zena is a loner. I am a loner. I am an isolator. I am extremely introverted. My best times are with me, myself, and I. Like I could be in my apartment, which, and just be there the whole weekend, the whole like a week, maybe even more, and not interact with people outside of social media. But if I really wanted to shut down, I wouldn't have to interact with anyone. I know that some people find that really hard to believe because I'm here on the radio and I appear to be outgoing when I'm out and about, but really I'm not. I'm a very shy, introverted person. If there's a party, trust me, I'm not in the limelight at all. I'm probably back somewhere helping other people make this party very festive or fun or whatever. That's just really the type of person that I am. So for me to come out on the radio is huge. Even though I'm in a room by myself, it's still very huge for me to share my life in a real manner where I am really just opening up myself to you, my audience, and other people is huge for me. I'm just so not that person. There are people that I have that are really, really close to me that just don't even know the details, and they might hear me drop something on the podcast, and they're like, well, "Why didn't you ever tell me about that?" I just don't. So I'm sharing that because, trust me, this will be some information that you will want to know, use, and apply to your life. So fast forward, I reached out to Keith and we met and really enjoyed his vibe, did a whole PowerPoint presentation, and he liked what he heard, obviously. And Keith never actually, he said that he never gave a show to someone who hasn't been doing podcast or doing something similar before, that he was going to sort of try me out. And a year later, I'm here. I'm still here and I'm still sharing. So thank you, Keith, so very much. But it's been transformative for me in coming here every Wednesday and sharing and finding out, like, okay, what is it that I want to talk about? I mean, obviously I'm a recruiter and have been doing that for 25 years, and I'm a life coach and spiritual coach and have been doing that for about 10 years. But sitting here and just sharing with you is something that I haven't done. So this is my year doing this. And I have to tell you, it feels really, really good to be able to do this. So my first show, my very, very first show that I was here in the studio and had my technical difficulties, still have my technical difficulties. But the very first day that I was in the studio, I went home and I drove through San Pedro to get to this place called Buns. If you're in San Pedro and you want a great burger, go to Buns. I think they're on 7th. I think they're on 7th, either 7th and Gaffey or 6th and Gaffey. But they have every kind of meat. They have like turkey burgers, they have fish burgers, they have salmon burgers, they have beef burgers, and then you pick all of this stuff that you want, and you want chili and all this stuff. Anyway, shout out to Buns. And the reason why I'm giving a shout out to Buns, because I'm ordering my food and I noticed that they have like postcards and business cards there, and I asked someone behind the counter, could I put one of my AskZena cards about the podcast, right? And true story. So he said, well, what's your podcast about? And I told him, and he said, oh, wait, are you serious? The cook came behind the counter. True story, came behind the counter. He was like, I was just listening to your podcast today. A friend of mine told me to check you out because he said that if I were looking for another job, that I should listen to this podcast. And it was unbelievable for me to be recognized and someone actually listened. Like, I thought, okay, no one's going to really listen to me because they don't know who I am. But to go in after the podcast and go get a burger, a turkey burger, and go get a burger, and this person recognize me was an uncomfortable feeling for me. It was great. I was appreciative, but it was very uncomfortable. He took a picture of us, and it was like, whoa. So the next day I go into work, and I'm telling Josh, who is my coordinator, and I'm going to have Josh out here because I love this guy. His energy and my energy, like, we can read each other's facial expressions. We can read each other's energy. So I'm so grateful to work with this young man. I went in there and told Josh what had happened, and he was like, and why are you surprised? And I thought, what do you mean? He said, and why are you surprised? Like, this is going to be huge. This is going to be, this is going to move into other things and so on and so forth. And I'm like, Josh, are you serious? Because this is Zena Contreras. Like, this is not part of anything that I ever envisioned as an aspect of my life. He was like, you better get with it because it's going to happen more and more. And I don't know if he was speaking prophetically, but I'm going to move fast forward, and exactly what he said, listen to this podcast all the way, because there's some huge monumental things happening in my life because, in my mind, because I planted the seeds, because I took the risk, because I stepped out of my comfort zone, because I practiced this one modality, and I'll share with you. It's a modality that I use in terms of my spiritual practice. I practiced this one modality when life started coming at me. So that was the first podcast, and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. I've had a number of things happen that have been challenges, and I've had a number of things that have been so unbelievable. So I have been working with Spectrum Networks, establishing their broadcast networks, their 24/7 news environment. And I've hired all kinds of reporters and anchors and hosts, and literally probably everyone in this building. So the building that I'm in had about 125 employees. Now we're bursting at the seams with about 330 plus. So in that time frame, I've hired well over 100 people to establish the 24/7 broadcast network. So if you have Spectrum, then you probably see it. It's the On channel. And those anchors and those people I'm actively involved with and have done all the recruiting. So I hadn't worked in broadcast network until I accepted this contract, and I've been a contract recruiter for about 20 years now. But I've worked in entertainment before. I'm sharing this because it's challenged me. I worked in this environment. I had deadlines, and I had to hire so many people so that we can go on live November 14th of last year. And we had to have shows in place, and we have to have producers in place, and we had to have all these people in place. And I challenged myself because I hadn't worked in that environment before. All the while I'm learning how to be a podcaster, right? All the while I'm back in LA and learning LA all over after being gone for 14 years and in hibernation in the desert. All of these things are going on, and I'm having relationships, and they're not working out, and they might be working out, and they're not working out. And I am an empty nester. And so one of the things that I want to say is, being an empty nester, trust me, that's a serious thing. I probably cried for about 2 years. You're probably asking, like, why is she rambling on? Trust me. Please listen in, stay tuned, because I'm going to share some stuff with you that you will be able to use, and hopefully you will be able to excel and exceed in your life as well. So right now, and for the next 2 podcasts that are coming up, or actually the next 1 podcast, I'm really going to be talking about getting yourself right, getting yourself together so that you can make 2020 an amazing, amazing year, and you can start to, he, you know, just leaps and bounds in terms of what it is that you're looking for. So I'm a big person who does vision boards every year, and I do life mapping. If you want to know about life mapping, certainly reach out to me. My email address, and you can also reach out to me on any of the social media platforms under AskZena. But email is coach.askzena, Zena, at gmail.com. I'm always willing to share. That's the one thing that you need to know about me, is I'm always willing to share anything to help people improve their lives. So I did this vision board last year, and it had a TV show on it, and it had really, really great friends. It had like a tribe of women and people that were going to be in my tribe and in my collection and in my collective energy, and we were going to be rooting for each other, and we were going to be inspiring one another. And it had job and travel and all of this stuff. And I have to say that probably about 80% of what I had on my vision board last year, for 2018, 2019, has already surfaced, has already manifested. And it's just amazing to know, because if you've ever done a vision board and you're putting these things out there and you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll have that ring, and maybe I'll have that love of my life, and maybe I'll go on that cruise, and maybe, I mean, when I put a television show on there, that was huge, because I am not that girl. But so many people were telling me, like, this needs to be a show, this needs to be a show, this needs to be a show. And I'm like, really? I just don't, like, I don't feel it. I don't see it. I don't want to be in front of a camera. And yeah, so big stuff, big stuff. So I've had some challenges, right? Not all things are, paved in glitter and gold. So I've had challenges with car and expenses and finances and such as everyone does. But one of the things that I practice is, like I said in the beginning, is I always try to get up and motivate myself, even in those moments when I know that literally I'm fighting off the depression, I'm fighting off feeling sad or anxious or worried or fearful. So this year, I look back this year, I've really been able to perfect in my mind, for me, how to harness positive energy, how to harness positive energy out of something negative, out of something coming at you. Now, that doesn't mean that when it comes at you that you're not going to feel the weight of it. You're obviously, I mean, you're a human being. You're going to feel the weight of whatever is trying to attack you. So, by appearance, right? So whether that's your finances, or whether that's a relationship that's ending, or whether that's your children, or whether that's your family, your parents, your job, your where you live, whatever it could be, right? And I had all of that, let me tell you. Like, I had landlord issues, I had car issues, I had family issues, I had children issues. Didn't have any grandchildren issues, so I love my little grandbabies. My two Z's and my D, like, love, 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 love them. And I think you guys heard one of my podcasts where my Miss Zoe was on my podcast. She's probably going to be on my podcast many more times throughout her lifetime. So, but I had to walk through some stuff, and I also had some health challenges. So, throughout the year, like, I had pneumonia, and I was in my bed for 14 days, and I was sick, really sick. It took me about 2 months to finally get myself together. And then I had some blood pressure issues and some pre-diabetic issues. Yeah, so I'm being really, really open and honest with you today about what's been going on in my life. But if you listen to it, you'll hear that I was able to navigate these things, and none of these things took me down. Yeah, I was in bed for 14 days with pneumonia, but none of these things took me down into comparison to what the year has achieved and manifested for me. So all of those things I was dealing with pretty much on my own. I mean, I had a relationship, it wasn't a very supportive relationship. So I was dealing with a non-supportive partner, but dealing with all of these things at the same time. And what I realize is not everyone vibrates at your level, right? And so we are in control of our vibration. We are in control of our energy. We are in control of the sphere around us, right? Sphere, right? Not fear. And we have to protect that. And so one of the things that I did, and I'll share with you now, but please continue to listen to the podcast because it's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to share with you. One of the things that I did in the modality that I practice, and you probably heard me talk about it, is I just found one positive thing. I found one positive thing about every negative thing that I was going through. So when I had pneumonia, I would lay in the bed, and I'm laying in the bed and my children are in different states and no one is there to literally take care of me. And I'm not, again, being the reclusive person that I am, I didn't reach out to anyone either to say, hey, I'm sick, can you come over? I didn't do that, and shame on me. But one of the things that I did is I in my meditation, I would visualize one positive thing, and then I would allow my imagination to flow with that and create that, so much so that I could see that through my own vision. And so when I had pneumonia and I was in bed, what I saw was one positive thing was that I was resting my body, but also that a lot of insights were coming to me. So I wasn't cluttered with all of these different activities, and I allowed and I invited a lot of insights to come to me. So my vision became more grand in terms of what I was seeing for my life and what I wanted for my life. So when you're in a crisis and you're in a situation where you just cannot see your way out, this is the most simple and easy thing to shift your energy. And I do it all the time. If I'm at work, I'll go into the bathroom and I'll just take a minute and I'll do this, and I'll close my eyes and I'll ask myself, what is one good thing that can come from this situation? And this is the trick. This is the trick, you guys. And you guys have heard me say this. Even if I have to lie to myself in this moment, and sometimes I have lied to myself, but not really lied. I've used my imagination to expand my vision. But when you say lie to yourself, people are like, oh, well, why would you lie to yourself? Whatever I need to do to shift my energy. So this is how that looks like. If I had a health scare, then I would say, okay, what is the one good thing that can come out of this situation? Even if I have to make it up. And so I would make up really, really grand and expansive vision. So I would say to myself, and this happened to me recently, okay, well, God's going to find a cure for this. And that's going to be part of my story. And not only is that going to be part of my story, but I'm going to be able to share that story with other people. And not only am I going to be able to share that story with other people, I'm going to be able to go out there and help other people to use what I did to heal myself through my faith and through my vision. And so then that looked like, okay, well, now I'm going to be traveling. And if I'm going to be traveling, where am I going to be traveling? And if I'm going to be traveling and where am I going to be going, then that means that I'm going to have the finances to take me and support me in my travels, in my journey. And if I'm going to have the finances to support me on my journey and on my path, then I must be living a great life. You see how that happened? So let me just go present day with you right now. So, recently, within the last 2 weeks, I would say, I've had another health scare. And so I was laying down on my side, and my side had been hurting me for about a month now, but it was like some tenderness, and I went to the doctor and they didn't see anything. And so this one time I'm laying on my side, and it's really started sort of really achy. And so I'm like, okay, what is that? And I don't know why. I just decided to do a breast examination. And I found two lumps. One is a very large lump. And that immediately, you start to think of, cancer, and you start to think of all these different things, and you start to look at your life like, oh my gosh, this can't be happening to me. I'm too young. And so I did some spirals, and then I went into meditation and released it. And then I actually took a sleeping pill to go to sleep that night, and fearful of what this was or what this is in my body. I think that was a Tuesday of last week. So I had to deal with this all week while other things were going on. And finally, I mustered up the courage to make an appointment to go to the doctor, and we're doing some tests and so forth to see, what it is. It could be a cyst, and we'll find out very soon. But what I had to do is I had to reconcile what this looked like and what this impact would be to myself and to my family. And so, when people think of cancer, they think that, they think of death. And that did come to my mind, but I also thought that I did this modality, right? And on Saturday morning, I basically was like, okay, God, you've got this. You created me. I've gone through some darkness. I've had some rough times. So if you brought this to me, then you can bring me healing, then you can bring me recovery, then you can bring me a cure, then you can bring me the medicine that I need for whatever this is. I reconciled whatever it is that it was going to be part of my story. So such as I said just now, is I did this modality to get myself out of the spiral of, okay, this could be cancer. What stage cancer is it? What, how is this going to impact my family? How is this going to impact my kids? Do I need to get my life in order? Blah, 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 blah. And so I reconcile this, and it wasn't easy, you guys. I'm just sharing with you. It wasn't easy. I cried a little bit, but not much. I kept doing this modality. I kept practicing what would my life look like. I kept doing that to keep me in a space of not claiming something or not, giving myself a diagnosis without having a diagnosis, right? So, I've got an appointment in January, and everything will be fine. But what I did is I said, okay, so what is this? Okay, so if this is here, then this could be this it tells me how precious life is. And how precious life is means that I need to get moving in fulfilling some of my goals and achieving some of the things that I wanted to achieve. And if that is whatever it is, then I know that there will be medicine and a cure. And if I need to change my life, then I need to change my life so that I can have an enhanced life. And if this is going to be part of my story, then I want to share that with people. And if I'm sharing that with people, what would that look like? Am I sharing that on my podcast? And if I'm not sharing that on my podcast, am I sharing that on social media? And if I'm not sharing that on social media, am I sharing that with women in a group, in a tribe? And so as I started to use my imagination, it actually got much easier for me to recognize that I have two lumps in my breast. And I know that's very difficult for some people to understand, but I believe that whatever this is, that it's going to be part of my story and it's going to be part of my journey. And I know that I still have a long journey ahead of me. So I'm not giving it a name or a title. But the point that I'm trying to get to is that you can use this modality in any aspect of your life. I'm very transparent. And so that's why I wanted to share this story, because So many people are going through so many things, and so many people mask what they're going through because they're afraid to cry. They're afraid to ask for help. They don't really want to know what's going on in their lives. They avoid taking action. And what I am learning through this year in being able to master and harness this energy, this positivity out of very negative situations is that nothing is here to really knock us down. But what happens is we also have the capability to rise above, and we also have the capability to fall down. And sometimes we take the path of least resistance, which actually isn't. And we just spiral into the abyss of all of the negativity, and some people even take that negativity and then transfer that energy and start taking it out on other people, whether they're mean or angry or abusive or whatever that is. It happens. And so a lot of times when you're dealing with difficult people, you're dealing with someone who's broken and who's hurt and who just doesn't know how to balance out their energy. So as I talk about being unrecognizable this year, I am completely unrecognizable this year. So at the point last week, when I had this scare on Tuesday, the days preceding that were manifestation of I was involved in a filming. I was involved in receiving an opportunity to pitch some ideas. I literally had breakfast with a friend of mine, and a woman came up to me and said, "Hey, can I use your outlet?" And one thing led to another, and she was like, "Oh, do I know you? Where do I know you?" And I told her about my recruiting background, and she's facilitating a large event, and she was like, "Are you a speaker?" So right before I had this scare, I had major manifestations happen in my life. And I had bought a new car. Remember I told you before, like, my car was giving me problems, and like I was driving a brand new car. So it was like most people, and even when I'd share this with a friend of mine, they were like, "Gosh, you would think like all of that good stuff, that this bad thing wouldn't happen to you." And that's what happens when you talk to people and share your life and they're not vibrating on your level. It doesn't mean that there's anything negative about my friend. She was just speaking her truth, whatever her truth was in her mind. But that vibration at that low level, I could have been like, yeah, like, why would this happen to me? And, this is the C word and all of this stuff. But I didn't. I didn't because I knew that this was part of my journey. And believe it or not, I have been an advocate of telling people, like, don't fight cancer. Embrace it. Embrace your body. Embrace your natural healing cycle and your natural ability to heal. And a lot of people are like, I'm going to fight cancer no matter what. Now, I'm not giving myself the label that that's what I have. But what I'm saying is you don't have to fight anything in life. If you can capture a vision, a larger vision, even if you have to make it up in that moment, then you are actually planting seeds out in the universe for the universe to start manifesting and bringing things forward so that it could draw closer and closer to you until you can actually see it. So that's really what I was talking about when I said my life is completely unrecognizable, because a year before, any sort of diagnosis or medical issue would have knocked me down. Any sort of financial situation would have knocked me down. Any sort of job change or job jeopardy would have knocked me down because I wasn't strong enough in my conviction. And so I am completely unrecognizable because of all the things that I went through. But also, I don't even recognize some of the good stuff that's happening to me because it's so beyond what my limited what my limited little tiny belief was about myself, what my limited little uh vision was for myself, what I thought Zena Contreras was capable of doing. So a meeting came about, and it was an opportunity that typically you don't have these kind of meetings just fall into your lap, right? You actually have to have an agent and an attorney, and you have to have a staff behind you. And this meeting occurred, and I was able to get on someone's calendar and seamlessly. I mean, I was more nervous about going to the meeting, but when the meeting flowed and it happened, it was like, yeah, 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 okay. And come back and give me some more. And come back and give me some more. And I was like, I walked away from the meeting like, you've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding. I mean, more to come about that. But I was like, you've got to be kidding. Like, there's no way like that just happened to me. All in the midst of this scare. And I'm going to stop saying it's a scare because it is my reality. I do have 2 lumps in my left breast, and all is well. All is well. And so what I really, really wanted to share with you today is that life will change if you allow it to change. If you stop feeding into all of that stuff that's happening to you, because all it is just, it's just dust that, like being in LA and driving in LA, it's like you have to go over these potholes, and sometimes things come up and they make your car dirty. But you can always get your car clean, right? And you can always change a flat tire or whatever it is. But don't get stuck in the things that are holding you back, because life will be unrecognizable for the greater good if you allow it to happen. For the greater good, whatever you're going through, trust me, I went through it all this year. I went through it all, like every health, finances, relationship, family. My mom was sick. My dad was sick. My kids had, situations going on with my kids and job and all of that stuff. And I now am very, very confident that through that one technique, I now am able to harness negative energy and turn it into positive fuel for my life. And that's really what I wanted to share. I'm completely unrecognizable now. I don't set a New Year's resolution because I know that if I can process through a situation that's coming at me, then, I can move forward into a better and greater opportunity. So I know that I've rambled on today, but I really wanted to share that with you guys. It's so unbelievable what life looks like now. Like I said, I was driving a different car. I was looking at, it's so huge, like I can't even describe it. I was looking at trees differently. I mean, I've shaved off so many relationships, not to say that there are people that I don't value and appreciate, but I shaved off those relationships. One I'm going to share is I was having a conversation. I've had a conversation for 6 years, almost every day, with a particular person. And it was always gossip. It was always negativity. But again, I was vibrating at that level where I would engage in that conversation every day, sometimes several times a day. And it was always like, this relationship isn't working out, but nothing was happening. This person is doing that. The news, the this, why is this world so crazy? I was engaged in that conversation for 6 years, and I was still trying to be positive, right? But when you stay with people who are vibrating at a lower frequency than yourself, you have to understand then you are taken away from the greater good that is trying to excel you into higher and greater levels of your vibration. And what I mean by that is through the vibration. So if think about your speakers, and your speakers are like booming, right? And they're just booming. Not only do you hear the music, but you feel the music. right? And other people feel the music, and it's like a magnetic pull. It's just like bouncing off of you. That's what your vibration is. And so all of those things that you're putting out in the universe about you wanting to have a better job, better relationship, get married, you know, I don't know, better sex, I don't know, whatever it is, relationship with your children, a cruise, or whatever that is. When you're in that vibrational pull, it's going to pull those things to you much, much quicker. And so here's an exercise that I want you to do. I'm actually doing it right now. Take your hands and pull them apart, and like have your arms close to you, like really close to you, and then just shake your arms back and forth with your hands like pulsing, right? And even though that, like, I'm in a room with nothing right here, obviously the studio equipment, but if I do that and I'm bouncing my hands back together, I'll do a video on it today. I can actually feel a vibration. You can feel something touching the palms of your hand. Well, everything is energy, and your thoughts and your words and your actions and your meditations are a vibration. And so if you want to have an unrecognizable life, vibrate at a higher level, vibrate at a higher level. Choose people in your tribe that are going to vibrate at a higher level. Choose people at your tribe that receive your good. And this is the last thing that I'm going to say. Not everyone will receive your good, whether it be family, whether it be children, whether it be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, whatever. Not everyone is going to receive your good because they are not vibrating at your level. So they cannot amass the vision that you have for yourself. It's just, it's unbelievable. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. If you look at any of the Housewives show, or you look at any reality TV and how they've shot up to fame, but yet they're still being negative and curt and vicious and all of these things. Nene Leakes comes to mind, but anyway. I really would love to work with her. I know she has a life coach, but I'm not seeing too many changes, Nene. I'm not seeing you do too many things. I'm seeing you go backwards. Anyway, when you put that energy out there, and you're still vibrating at that, even though all of this good is happening to you, trust me, there's going to be a polarity pull, and you're going to go backwards really, really quickly. And so you see that happening in their lives. You're like, oh my gosh, these people are reality TV. They're unscripted. They don't have a script, and they just go to work for living their lives. But look at how catty they are, and look at the challenges that they have, and look at the things that they're pulling out about their past that they should have been healed from, and so on and so forth. So vibration is real. Can't see it. Don't know what it looks like, don't know which direction it's flowing into, but it's real. It's real. Hey, I wanted to thank you. Thank you so very much for letting me chat with you, to be transparent with you, to share with you. Yeah, all is well. All is well in my life right now. I accept whatever is going on and know that the goodness that is there, which is called my life, which is called Zena Contreras, which I was born in this incarnation to give and to share and to grow, that is actually manifesting in my life right now. And I call it forth for your life as well. So thank you so very much for tuning into the Ask Zena radio show on the Good News radio station. You know what we're going to do? We are going to, next week, I'm going to come out on Christmas. Yep. And I'm going to talk about getting prepared for 2020. You know, I would love to have a guest in the studio. So I'm going to see if I can pull someone to come into the studio and do some chatting with me about 2020. And I want all of you guys to have an amazing life. I want you guys to live in your full existence. And so that's really what the Ask Zena radio show is about. So thank you so very much for listening. I hope you were inspired today. I hope you were encouraged. go out there and have a wonderful, wonderful remainder of your week and finish your shopping. Finish your Christmas shopping, and all is well. I love you. Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Zena radio show. Bye.